after we've done those things, then we're going to build up to, all right, now let's get our lower half into it a little more and work on getting loaded so we can get our body moving powerfully towards home plate. And this is where the first thing I'll do when working with a young pitcher on this is just to make sure they're setting their feet well. I like to just let them get a little hop so they come down in a good athletic position, their feet underneath them, all right, not flat foot and stuff. I'll include a separate video on that just kind of goes into detail on how to set your feet well, because it is important. Make sure they've got that foundation under. But then what we're going to work on is the idea of an early weight shift or early momentum. And this is something that you see with all hard throwing big league pitchers. You don't see it a lot with young pitchers. I think partly because of the way a lot of young pitchers learn to pitch, but it is important for generating power and momentum. So what we're going to work on with the pitchers is just letting them understand the idea of getting loaded and getting their body moving towards home plate. So what we're going to do here is you just get them set, hands together, and we're going to come up and back down, keeping our hands together. What you see, common mistake you see with a lot of young pitchers, they come up and they're in a rush to get that throwing arm up early, and it actually kills momentum. They get no power in their stride. So the timing, what we want to work on is getting a little weight shift before the hands come up, because when, getting that arm up and ready to throw is important, but we really don't need to get there until that front foot lands. That's when it's important to be in a good position to throw with that throwing arm. We want to be relaxed early, building power in our legs, our lower half, and then the throwing arm comes up. So I'm explaining all this mainly for your benefit, not something you need to go into detail with a young pitcher about, but just so you understand why we're doing it this way. All right, so we're just working on early weight shift, up and back down. Key thing to focus on is you can see as I'm loading up, when I come down, I'm moving forward a little bit. I've got that kind of little subtle weight shift. So it's not just here where I'm keeping my head directly over my foot and I'm not getting any weight shift. I'm actually starting to get my body moving forward a little bit. Keep my hands together and just working on that part of it, all right? Then the next thing we'll do after they've gotten that down, and they can check, tell them to check themselves pretty easily. After they come down, look, they can check and see, is their head right over their foot? Or do they move out a little bit as they did, and their head's more in the midline between their feet? All right, so then we're gonna work on handbrake as you come out of that leg lift. And that's all we're doing. We're not trying to get here and focusing on this being the end goal, because it's not, but we're just working on breaking the hands. And you notice I'm striding out a little farther here. Okay, so we're loading up, striding out a little farther, breaking our hands. And I just like to say, there's no one specific spot where you need to break your hands, down low or up high or anywhere in between. What I like to do is just wherever a pitcher does naturally, it should be happening once that lead leg starts going. Boom. So you're getting that early weight shift and you're breaking your hands right there. So that's the next step. Then we'll just transition to, okay, now put it all together, work on your full delivery. So you're gonna load up and throw, and just practice that way. Make sure you're getting that good weight shift and throw. Another way to work on this real quick with a young pitcher, where you're taking the arms out of it and they can really focus on the lower half, is just to fold their arms and take the arms out of it completely. So you just have them here, work on that load. All right, and then you could have them go through their full motion right there, just to kind of get the footwork down. All right, they're not going to be able to move the same way they would when they're pitching this way, but it just helps them develop the footwork, get that coordination. You can start off, they'll probably start off very slow. And that just kind of helps them develop the footwork and get that feel down. Once they kind of get that footwork down, then you can get them with the glove back on again, and they can start going through their motion. And they're going to be slow and inconsistent to start off, and that's kind of how you're going to see them go through it. Is they probably should be going a little slower to start off to make sure they're getting the movements right. So I mentioned earlier how I see a lot of kids who get their arms up real early in your pitching delivery, and that's not what we want. We want the arms and legs to be in sync so that the arm gets up and ready to throw right when that front foot hits the ground. So this drill, basically all you're gonna do is start off as if you're pitching from the stretch, lift up twice, and throw. The key here is to start out with your glove relatively low, and think about there being a connection between your glove and your knee or your thigh, so that when the glove goes up, my knee goes up. Or actually, I should say it the other way. When my knee goes up, my glove goes up. When my knee goes down, the glove goes down. Up, down, up, throw. All right, that just sets you up well to get the arms and legs working together. Up, down, up, throw.